This episode of Homemade was previously recorded in front of a live stream audience who asked questions and cook along during the show. If you love cooking and want to join us in the kitchen, visit homemadecooking.com to register for free live classes. Now, let's get cooking. What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. How is everybody? So good to see you. If I could just get a little closer, I'd give you the biggest virtual hug in the world. If we haven't met before, I'm Joel Gamoran. I am the founder and head chef of Homemade. But I'm really excited about this class, specifically because I am a total mushroom head. I love mushrooms, and I adore pot pie. First and foremost, what separates Homemade, and a lot of you guys know this, from the rest of the world is we are not YouTube, we are not Food Network, we are our own thing where you can talk to us live and in real time. But if you'd rather go through our other chef, her name is Kat, and she is in the chat. Chef, how are you?
I'm so good. I was just talking about earlier how I am in love with these mushrooms. I cannot wait to eat after class.
I know. Guys, you have no idea the carnage that happens right after class. We serve this up, and it smells so good. We obviously have a swap out because we didn't want you to have to wait here for an hour and a half to let this thing bake. But mushrooms are one of those vegetables that just have this meaty quality, and it just fills the room with just richness. We're gonna do a little pie crust 101. I know a lot of you guys know pie crust, but let's just take a beat and do it. So, what we wanna do, and the proper way to measure a gorgeous pie or anything at that matter, is to grab a separate small cup, and I'm just gonna here's my 1 cup here. I'm gonna grab a separate small cup and overfill this 1 cup. Now I'm using a separate one because it keeps it light and fluffy versus compacting it, right? So I overfill it, and then I just grab something straight, and I don't press it in, nothing like that. I just kind of even it out. And that, my friends, is a proper cup measure. So I'm gonna add that in. I have 3 cups of Bob's Red Mill AP flour. That's chef talk for all-purpose flour. All right. So next, I love using my hands. So just go with me here. I'm gonna get rustic. I like to dump it all onto the counter. And then we're gonna add a couple of ingredients to this. First, I've got some sugar. Even though this is a mushroom pot pie, it's a savory pie, I like a touch of sweetness. You can do honey, but I like a little sugar, a little bit of salt, and then I just start by kind of mixing that through. All right, so next up, we have cold butter here, really cold, unsalted butter, and we're gonna just add that in, right into our fun mixture. By the way, if you have kiddos at home, I do, this is the moment. I mean, get them involved. I love it. And then you kind of just start breaking these up. We like to kind of press the butter so it becomes these kind of sheets like this. Really flattens it out. So you can see as I work it, the butter is getting smaller, and I'm kind of smearing it as it goes and kind of breaking it up. And you're looking for really small, I mean, almost every cookbook in the world calls for like pea-sized pieces of butter, but I'm just kind of squeezing and breaking. And then at one point, I like to move and get in there with a bench scraper and kind of chop it up. And this is what a pastry cutter will do. But I like the bench scraper for this because you can kind of grab everything. And the next step to a good pie crust is where so many people go wrong. It's oversaturating it, giving it too much water, okay? Now I want you to imagine this pie crust is like a salad. The way I want you to imagine this is this gorgeous pile of Bob's Red Mill flour and all this butter that we just spent a little time kind of cutting into it. These are our greens. Ice water is our dressing. So too much of it, it's gonna be soggy, it's gonna be sad, just like a salad. Just the right amount, it's gonna be perfect. So this recipe calls for about 5 tablespoons. So I'm gonna start with 1, and I'm gonna kind of evenly disperse it, 2, and I have ice in this to keep it nice and small. So I'm gonna start with 3 before I go to 5 or 7. And I'm just gonna start working that in. right? And you're gonna, all of a sudden, just like a salad, we're kind of tossing it, right? You're gonna see it start coming together. And this is the third part that most people mess up with their pie crust, which is they overwork it and they make it too tough. If you've ever eaten a pie where the filling just slides right off that crust, that means the crust was overworked, all right? So you can see it's just starting to come together, but this is where I just go tablespoon at a time. And I kind of just start working it in. Now, sometimes you need that extra tablespoon. Sometimes you don't. All right, so I'm just kind of working this in, feeling as it comes together. And this is why I love the bench scraper. I can really get underneath there. And then I start kind of squeezing. And this is when you start to see that dough form. And you can see it's already becoming really shaggy. Once you're at this point, you kind of take the heel of your hand and you smear the butter in the mixture. See those flakes right there? That really helps kind of bring it together, but also get that butter almost laminated. And then once it really comes together, you have this like mass, and this is when you want to stop. It's when it's still flaky. All right? You don't want to wait until it's 100% together. That's an overdressed salad. So you can give it a squeeze, maybe two, and what you're left with is a beautiful dough. What I like to do at this point is I take this and I put it in plastic wrap, and then I pop that in the fridge for about 15 minutes. This will stay good in the freezer for about six, I was gonna say years, 6 months it will stay good in the freezer. So you can make this well ahead of time. All right, so dough is chilling in the fridge. If you have a carbon steel pan, or any pan for that matter, get it on a medium-high heat. I'm about an 8 out of 10 right now. And then we've got just this bounty. Look at this. I'm so happy with this. I love wild mushrooms. Look at these. All right, let's play a little trivia. In order, put it in the chat. I'm gonna hold up a mushroom, so I want you to put a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the chat. You tell me what it is. This is the first one. All right. Second one, third, and fourth. Let's see if anyone gets close. All right, did anyone get it right?
Yes, so
Yes?
we've got gold is the chanterelle.
Yes.
And then Mike here has got them all listed.
Yeah.
One is maitake.
Yes. Okay, this is maitake, also known as hen of the woods.
Hen of the woods. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's because it tastes like a chicken. So I'm gonna chop it up. Okay, that's the first one. What's the next one? Anyone know this one?
Mike said trumpet.
Yes, these are king trumpets. So you kind of take these off and you give these a little bit of a chop. So I'm chopping everything kind of bite size, almost like little pieces of chicken like you'd see in a chicken pot pie. So these are king trumpets, okay? I think I heard chanterelles for this, which is so right. Anyone know this one?
Shiitake.
Shiitake mushrooms, which are awesome. Now, again, I'm just kind of looking for that chunky, beautiful vibe, and this looks great. All right, couple of handfuls here. So I'm gonna go with a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and by a little bit, a Joel Gamoran little bit, which is a good couple of glugs of olive oil. And the reason why so much is because these soak in anything, especially olive oil. So you want to start with some olive oil. I got a nice hot pan, and in we go. So when you cook mushrooms like this, I'm going to give it a nice pinch of salt, a couple of cracks of black pepper. But when you cook mushrooms like this, it's okay to add some more oil as you go. If you want to go with a little butter, that's fine too. The butter's just going to burn a little sooner. All right. So as these are going, we're going to cut up some aromatics. So what I'm going to do is just start cutting this up, and the goal is to cut this up all around the same size as our mushrooms. So I always take off the bottom and top of the celery. You can save this for stock. And then I kind of cut it down the middle like this. And then I just line them up and I cut them down. Again, they're around the same size as the mushrooms. So I cut these up. All right, I have an onion. I'm gonna cut this in half, cut this down, And then a little bit sideways here, and just cut that into little pieces. All right, onion in. As these are sweating down, we're gonna add a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna crush these, chop them through, and then we've got some herbs. I've got some rosemary and thyme. So we're gonna add in our herbs. Looks amazing. Oh my gosh. It smells ridiculous. And we are going to now add even more Bob's Red Mill all-purpose flour. So I'm gonna go in there. Now, this is like making gravy. So this is really important. We sprinkle that over the top of our vegetables, and then we have to give this about a minute where you toast the flour. All right, we got a cup of dry white wine. Deglaze the pan. Next, chicken stock. And this is gonna thicken it. Beautiful. And then we like to add a glug of cream, just for some richness. Take it out if you don't want it. But I have a feeling most of us do want it. And then, because it adds sweetness and color, and it's classic, some frozen peas. So mix that all through. And this is where you're really starting to see the consistency of our pot pie that we're all used to. All right, guys, so we're gonna make an egg wash. This is gonna be to paint the top of the pie. So I just crack an egg in a little bowl. Just give it a good 20, 30 seconds of mixing this up. So this is kind of our individual pot pie, and I think this is so elegant. You can buy these little cast iron skillets. I'll kind of hold this to the close cam here. Just these little ones. They're like the size of my hand, right? As far as width goes. And they're awesome. They're like $10. Worth it, right? Just to have. They're great for other dishes as well. Biscuits and things like that. So we have ours. I put a little bit of olive oil in it just so it stays nice and greased. And then I pull out my dough. All right, so I'm gonna use about half of this, I think. Probably not even, but we'll get in there. And you can just see the layers. Hard to see, but you can really see the laminating layers there. We did a really nice job with this one. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a work just to bring it together, right? And again, we don't wanna overwork it. It builds a little bit too much gluten. I'm gonna take a little bit of Bob's as my bench flour, and give it a little bit of a sprinkle, right over the top. And I just start with a circle, because that's the shape I wanna end with. And best way to roll out, everyone rolls out like this. It's not how you roll out. You wanna start in the middle, and then go out, and then pick up, and go back to the middle, and roll the other way. And then you kind of twist it a little bit. So back middle, there, back middle, here, twist. Back middle, back middle. And this just gives you a nice, even dough. And we're going to about a half an inch. This looks awesome and so even. Isn't that beautiful? So one of the things I like to do is kind of lay the cast iron on top. And you're not interested in the bottom. We're interested in the top, but we want some overhang because we want to kind of shape it and work with it. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of loosely follow the shape and the size. All right. So we've got a little oil in there. Again, we're not doing a bottom crust today. We're going to take the pot pie mixture, and we're gonna start filling this puppy up. So you wanna go about 3/4 of the way. That looks about perfect. All right. And then we take our dough right over the top. And if you wanna get fancy, get fancy. If you wanna just be rustic and bring in the sides like this, that's great too. I like kind of doing a crimp like this. And kind of going around. I put my finger down, and I kind of pinch around it. Pinch around it. And it just makes a nice rustic crimp. Again, I hate perfect. And then if we don't put a little bit of air in there, or a place for the air to escape, it just makes the crust really soggy. So you want to give it a couple of air vents. So I just cut a couple of slits, and then we grab a little bit of that egg wash, and we just start to kind of mop. It's almost like you can't overdo it with the egg with a nice pot pie crust. So a little bit of black pepper just gives it a nice effect. But there's my cute little crimped, rustic pot pie. It looks so sweet. So this goes in the oven, 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. And
It's at 375.
375. Sorry, I said 350. 375. By the way, when I put it in the oven, I always put it on a sheet tray because, like I said, it's going to bubble up and you're going to have spillage, and you don't want that in the bottom of your oven. So just have something where it can spill into, right? So that goes in, and this comes out. See the spillage? How adorable. This, my friends, is a perfect little pot pie. I'll hold this up so everyone can see. Still warm. Has that little crimpage on the side. You can see some air vents. Just gorgeous. I love it. That is what you're looking for. About 45 minutes, again, 375, and you are singing in the rain. Let's taste test this puppy. I'm a spoon and pot pie guy. All right, shall we? That's like a creme brulee. Oh yeah. This whole thing is just so buttery, so delicious. I want all the crust in the world. There we go. Get on my spoon. Why aren't you there? Okay, there we go. I need more crust. You wonder why pies take so long to bake. It's because you really want to dry out that crust and just make it so crispy. I mean, listen to this. Flaky, tender, perfect. The filling is creamy, gorgeously seasoned, not too dry, not too wet. The wine sweetens it, the mushrooms enrich it. I could eat that all day. I could eat that all day. Look at this divot I just made in there. That was like 3 bites. I'm an animal when it comes to this stuff. I love it. Ooh, the black pepper in there is so good. Oh my gosh. So good. Any final thoughts or questions?
I wish we could share the smell in here with everyone.
This one feels unfair. I'm not going to lie. You guys, I don't get a chance to do this very often. This is Tuesday before Thanksgiving. This is going on our 4th year of teaching classes. We've taught hundreds of classes, thousands at this point. We've taught millions of people. We've had over 4 million people take cooking classes with us, which is just mind-blowing. And I just want to say thank you. I'm so grateful to show up here every week, for our chefs to show up here every week, to be able to make recipes with you guys, listen to you guys, get feedback from you guys. We're so appreciative of your time, of your compliments, of even your constructive feedback. We're so lucky to have a community like you guys. So we consider you guys our family. If we could, we would all gather around one big table and cook and eat together, because we know that's the core, that's the essence to life. But since we can't, this is the second best thing, and we really care about you guys. So we're grateful, we're thankful for you. I really hope you have great plans. But more than anything, we love you, happy cooking, and we'll see you after the big day next week. Take care. Hey there, I'm Joel Gamoran. I'm the head chef and founder of Homemade, and we launched Homemade with the idea that we want to bring cooking and the kitchen to the world. So if you love cooking and want to join us in one of our free live stream cooking classes, head to our website, homemadecooking.com. That's homemadecooking.com to register today.